Alright, in Algebra 1, Section 2-2, we're dealing with solving inequalities using plus or minus, okay, addition or subtraction. This one is going to be pretty straightforward. Basically, the only thing you need to know when we're dealing with adding and subtracting inequalities is you treat it just like an equal sign. All the rules of equality are the same for the rules of an inequality when we're dealing with plus or minuses, okay? You want to isolate the variable, okay? And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So again, we're going to isolate each variable, and whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other, okay? So let's look at number 1. It's asking us to solve n graphs, so let's focus on solving at this point. We know that D has a friend on its other side that's keeping it from being isolated, and that's negative 5. The opposite of negative 5, because I want to get rid of it to isolate D, is positive 5, right? But again, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other, so I also have to add 5 here. So these cancel out, and I end up with D is greater than negative 7, so I start at negative 7 on the number line, and I jump 5 over, so that gives me to, it's getting more towards the positive numbers, so I'm left with negative 2. So if I were to graph this, okay, I would start, this is my starting point, 0, this is negative 2. Now, because this has no line underneath, I'm doing open circle, and D is all the numbers that are greater than negative 2, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the right. So this is my answer, and this is my graph. Right? Don't forget to box those answers. The next one I'm dealing with is decimals, okay? So with this decimal, I'm going to go ahead and again isolate n. This is my variable. Well, the friend that's attached to n is 0.3, and the opposite of negative 0.3 is positive. So we're dealing with positive 0.3 on this side to get rid of it. And again, you'll be annoyed with me saying this, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So this would be adding 0.3, okay? This gives me 1.2 is greater than or equal to n, okay? Now that n is isolated, I'm going to go ahead and graph it. So we'll have 0, 1.2, negative 1.2, and positive 1.2. Okay? So I'm going to start at 1.2 because it has that line underneath. I'm going to put open circle or closed circle. It's going to be closed circle. Okay? So I'm going to start at positive 1.2, closed circle. Now, n is all the numbers that are less than 1.2. Okay? All the numbers smaller than 1.2. So that means anything on this side, smaller than 1.2. Okay, these are one of the exceptions where it doesn't follow necessarily the rules because n is on this side, which is you're not used to. But yes, anything that's smaller, because 1.2 is the biggest it gets, because that opening is eating the bigger number. Okay? Number 2 says Sammy has a gift card. She's already used $14 of the $30 value. Write, solve, and graph inequality. Okay? So how much inequality? So we need to know how much she can spend left. Okay? After she's used $14. So we know her maximum is 30. That's the biggest it can get. So 30 is the biggest that it can get. So that means the opening is going to hit this. Can she spend $30 and still be okay? Yes. So that means I'm going to put that line underneath. Okay? If she couldn't spend $30, if she could only spend $29.99, then we couldn't put that line on there. Okay? But because she can, that's fine. Now we're trying to figure out because you're not going to spend exactly the leftover. Sometimes when you're spending a gift card, you just want to know the maximum of how much you have left over. So she has 14, right? She's already spent 14 plus whatever she has left. This is what she has left. Okay? You could also write this if you wanted, because there's different ways of saying it, is that if she does 30 minus 14 is greater than or equal to x. Okay? So this one, if we solve them both, this one would give us 30 minus 14, which is 16, is greater than or equal to x. Okay? Or this one is the same thing. I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides. I end up with 16 is greater than or equal to x. Both are the same. So I'm going to go ahead and graph. That means she can spend up to $16. Does she have to spend $16? No, she doesn't. But she can't spend bigger than $16. Okay? So, our starting point is 16, and because she can't spend $16, we're going to do closed circle. Closed circle. Okay? And so it's all the numbers that are less. Okay? In this particular case, I can only hit to 0 because she's not going to spend negative something dollars, unless of course the store gives her money, which is unlikely unless we're living in a dream world. But that's how we would graph it, anything that's less than 16. Okay? Go ahead and write this down. Try page 109, number 3 and 5, 109, number 3 and 5, and I will see you in class.